Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, it's gonna be a different type of video. It's gonna be story time. This is a very big topic. Oh yeah, if you guys see this, it's not a hickey, it's a little eczema spot. I've had it since I was pregnant and it just doesn't go away. But yeah. And then my shirt is this one. It says California Dreamin' and it's from Shein. But yeah. Oh, and then excuse the mess in the bag. I'm charging all my stuff for the plane ride. So yeah. So today's story time is the time I was in an abusive relationship. I know mental health is really big. This abusive relationship is what started kind of like my journey to mental health. It just, yeah. So, okay, we're gonna start off at where it all began. So I was in high school. I was a sophomore and he was a freshman. You know, we met mutually through mutual friends. Yeah, we started talking, and then he finally asked me to be his girlfriend. At first, in the beginning, he didn't seem like the type where he was abusive, you know, like, I mean, guys really don't, there's not a like a look, you know, per se. Yeah, so I was a sophomore in high school and he was a freshman, and one of my friends, he was friends with one of my friends from church, and they would just hang out all the time. And I told my friend from church, I was like, oh, who's that? Like, he's cute and whatever. So after that, we got each other's phone numbers, and then we were just talking. We started hanging out at school. Yeah, so this started off in, like, I want to say like the beginning of school. We started dating in October and everything was fine still. The first couple of months were perfect. Then it just started going downhill. He wasn't abusive to where he would hit me or nothing like that, but he was very emotionally and mentally abusive. He would like to bring me down a lot, and he would just like tell me to stop hanging out with people little by little. It was slowly started as like a couple of people here, a couple of people there. I couldn't hang out with this person, I couldn't hang out with this person, I couldn't talk to pretty much nobody. So then little by little I started distancing myself from my friends. And then I would just, yeah, I would try not to talk to my friends really. This is where my anxiety started. I would be very anxious. Literally, he had a lot of people that were his friends just like keeping an eye on me just to see if I would talk to people that he told me not to talk to, or I couldn't talk to people in my class that he didn't like. So I remember this one time, it was my birthday, and he told me not to go to school because he didn't want nobody to tell me happy birthday. And keep you in mind, like, all my friends would still try so hard to talk to me, and I would just ignore them because he wouldn't want me to talk to them. And this was my first like actual relationship, so I didn't know what to expect. And yeah, like, he broke up with me the day of my birthday, and he didn't go to school. And the whole day on my birthday, I remember I was just crying and crying and crying. I was crying in all my classes pretty much. And yeah, like, after that, we got back together. He was very like his words were so good, where he would make it to turn around to seem like I was the bad guy all the time, and that everything I did was wrong. Everything I would say was just not okay. My actions were always a problem. And I went from this bubbly, happy person to being in a box. Like, literally, I was just allowed to talk to him and a couple of his friends. And after a while, I was just not allowed to talk to nobody. Like, nobody at all. Only him. He even excluded us from his own little friend group. We would literally be just in like a little spot during lunchtime where nobody else would be at, and none of that, just so that nobody could talk to me. We had, we didn't have any classes together. He was a year younger than me, and he wouldn't let me talk to nobody. I mean, I would try and talk to my friends, but at this point, I stopped talking to everybody. I stopped, interacting with people. I stopped just being me. And my parents didn't realize what I was going through. They didn't know that he was that type of person. They, welcomed him with open arms, and my parents were really strict. And so when I told them I had a boyfriend, they weren't just like, okay, you could go out with him anywhere you want, and any place, anytime, and stuff like that. So they were never like that. And he didn't like that. He just wanted to see me all the time, and he wanted to hang out all the time. But like, he didn't understand that I didn't have that luxury like he did. So I couldn't see him all the time. We would hang out here and there, but it was always at like my family events. So I guess that's like what angered him the most, to just like treat me that way, or I don't know. But after a while, I just always used to say that it was my fault, that I was to blame for, that I was wrong. And thinking back to it, like, I just feel like, for being my first relationship, I'm glad that we broke up and that we were done for. But yeah, so there was a lot of incidents that happened, and for some reason, every time that something happened, he would always buy me something, and that's supposed to like, that was his way of showing like, okay, I'm sorry, like, but here's this, and this is gonna help us move on, and this is like this is what I'm giving you for my mistake type of thing. I remember it was a necklace one time, and then he had my iPod at one point, and yeah, like, I can't remember if he broke it or not. But yeah, so it was just it was a very, very hard situation. All I can remember from it is that I just felt like everything was my fault all the time. And at the end of the day, like, he broke up with me multiple times for little things, like that one time on my birthday, and then another time because I couldn't go out with him, and another time because I actually decided to leave school with him, and I told my mom that I was gonna stay for extra study time after school, and she ended up staying there and not going home. So she found out that I wasn't there, and so yeah, he just, you know, for me being in high school, I didn't think I was in an abusive relationship. It wasn't until after that he broke up with me, and I got really, really, really depressed, and I would just cry all the time. I would sleep all the time. I had really bad anxiety attacks from my depression because I was so sleep deprived, and I was just crying all the time. I just couldn't recognize myself at this point. Like, I just remember that one day I asked to leave school, and my mom picked me up, and one of my good friends, she's like 4 years older than me, she went to go pick me up, and I was just with her all day, and that was one of the greatest days of my life after the relationship, because my friend made me realize what my worth was. She made me realize that that wasn't a relationship at all, and that he never treated me good, and he wasn't a good person. Like, there should be no one who treats anyone the way he treated me. And I remember my friends, like, opening their arms to me and just wanting to be my friend again, and I just felt like shit because I was like, wow, like, I really left you guys for a guy who did all this to me, and not once actually appreciated at me or loved me, or, was actually really good to me, because it wasn't. I ended up leaving my friends for somebody who, at the end of the day, dumped me and treated me like shit. So after that happened, and my friends just openly invited me back into the group, I just felt like damn, like, these are really my true friends, and they've always cared about me, and I just thought that a guy was bigger than that. We ended up breaking up my senior year, around like January, February time frame, and I thought that I wasn't gonna go to prom because he didn't want me to go to prom. He didn't want me to do anything really. I thought that my future was gonna be, you know, like I was gonna end up knocked up and we were gonna end up together, and I wasn't gonna go to college or anything because he didn't want me to go there. He didn't want me to go to college, or he didn't really want me to do anything just so I wouldn't interact with people. He wanted me to live under like a little rock and just stay there and just like listen to him and obey him and, you know, just be all about him. Which that's so unhealthy and so like it's just so bad. Now I'm not doing this video to talk down about him, but I am doing this video so that other people like me could, you know, finally move on from the relationship and finally say I've had enough and leave. I know what's good for me and I know what's not good for me. I know you're not a good person and I could find better. If I could go back to high school and tell my high school self that it's not the end of the world and that their future is so much brighter, then I will. Like, I would tell myself to just leave, to not get back with him. The first time we broke up, I would not get back with him at all. Like, just, you know, do you. I remember that time in my life, I was just so depressed and so anxious all the time. Like, my anxiety attacks would happen just because if I was talking to people and I felt like somebody was watching me and they were gonna go tell him, and then we were gonna get in a fight, and then we were gonna break up. And I remember after we broke up, everybody was just so welcoming, and they were just so welcoming and so positive to have me back. And I'm not gonna lie, it did take a while for me to be the person that I was before I met him, but you know, you only grow from things. This wasn't a mistake because at the time I felt like he was my world, and I felt like we were gonna be together for a very long time. So I never say it's a mistake, but I always say it's a lesson, because it's a lesson that it taught me to, you know, not let no man treat me the way he treated me, and to know my worth and my value. My husband now treats me amazing. He treats me like I've always meant to be treated. My ex from high school wasn't the first abusive relationship I was in. I was also in one while I was in the Navy, but that one was a different type of abuse. It was more like a mentally, well, it wasn't a different kind of abuse, it was the same, but it was just, he was more mentally abusive. And it was just, you would think that after the first abusive relationship I would have been done, and I would have known exactly like what was the, you know, the beginning to an abusive relationship. But like I said, you don't know that that person is abusive until you are in a relationship with them and they just switch. Like, there's something in their brain that just switches. And for the longest time, I've always thought that it was my fault and that I did everything wrong, and that I was the person that made them be that way, and that I was just never gonna be in a good relationship because it was my fault, and I made them abusive, and it wasn't. They just, they just needed to make me feel bad because of what they were going through and their whatever they went through, their childhood, whatever they were going through. Like, now that I think back to these relationships, I'm so happy that I'm not there no more. I'm so happy that I came out those relationships a much better person. And I know after high school, I just, I stopped talking to people because I was still in that mental state where my mind was not right. My heart and my mind were just hurt and broken, and I felt so so out of it, and I was not the same person that I was when before I started this relationship. And it hurts. Like, it hurts to see how happy I was before I got with the person, and then after. I think the most hard part was trying to talk back to people and make amends with their for my friendships with them. That was the hardest part because I didn't know how people would react. I didn't know that what they would say about me. I just remember that all the people he didn't want me to talk to were just so genuine when I came back. Like, they were so much help. And even though half of the time I acted or faked like I was happy just so that I wouldn't seem like I was down or that it hurt me to see the guy, but at the end of the day, a little smile or actual true happiness was more to me than anything else. Like, I knew after a while that this wasn't the end of the world, that there's so much more that the world has to offer, and that high school wasn't it. High school was not the end of the world, that there was more plans out for me. I prayed about it a lot, so much actually. I prayed just to overcome it and just to, ask for forgiveness. I don't have no hate in my heart for him or how he treated me. All I know is that I forgave him a very, very long time ago, and I've had closure within myself, and I just wanted to make this video so that if other people watch this, they know that you're not the only one. Anybody could go through an abusive relationship, and it doesn't have to mean that it's domestic violence. It just, people get abused differently, and it's just, if somebody asks to help you, let them help you. Let them be the eyes in your relationship that you can't see. Because when you're in love, love makes you do so many dumb things, and it lets you put yourself through so many horrible things that you don't even think it's horrible. You think it's the best thing in the freaking world and that they're the best people, but they're not. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, and there will always be a light at the end of the tunnel. And just because you had one or two bad relationships doesn't mean that all your relationships are going to be bad. I can finally say that when I met my husband, I felt in peace with the world, and I felt that I finally found my soulmate, and I finally felt like I found the person that I was gonna spend the rest of my life with. Yeah. So I feel like if I wouldn't have went through everything that I went through, then I wouldn't be the person that I am today. And this little munchkin would have probably have never been born. Yeah. I'm sorry, he just woke up from his nap and I had to grab him, so yeah, maybe I could do a video about how I've been dealing with anxiety or something. Actually, I could just incorporate it into this video since I did get my anxiety around the same time because of the abusive relationship. So dealing with anxiety has been very, very hard. There's just days where I feel really, really drained. I didn't know though that I was dealing with anxiety. I thought it was just something else, or I felt that I didn't have the symptoms until I got my first anxiety attack, and my parents didn't know what it was, so I went to the hospital. But yeah, that was a very hard time. Now my anxiety has been too bad. When I found out I was pregnant with Antonio, my anxiety was probably at its worst, just because I felt like the world was just such a horrible place, and I didn't want to bring into this horrible world a baby, especially someone that's just so small and doesn't know what's happening. My anxiety has been getting so much better, and I just feel that it's just everything in my life that has made it so much better. And yeah, like my life now is just so much better. If you were to like I said, if you were to tell me, high school me, that this would have been my life right now, I would have never believed you. I would have laughed at your face, because I was just so into this relationship, and I was so in love, and I just saw a forever. And now, you know, what I thought was my forever was nothing more than a high school relationship. And now I have this little monster. Oh no. I have this little monster. Yeah. And life is just great. Excuse his hair, he just woke up. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on your post notification bell so you can get notified whenever I upload a new video. I'm thinking about uploading a video about how it's been being a mommy, so if you guys would like to see that, comment down below. Probably gonna post this sometime around next week, maybe. Yeah. Say bye-bye. Say bye-bye, everybody. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Bye-bye. Hey, look. Look over here, look. Say bye-bye. Oh my goodness. Okay, bye. Say bye. Say thank you guys for watching my mommy's videos. Bye.